Hi students, welcome back to Google Classroom of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. How are you children? Hope you all are fine over there.
Today we will start a new chapter, that is Chapter 3, Private, Public and Global Enterprises. As per the new syllabus, the topic like global enterprises, joint ventures and public-private partnership are deleted from this chapter. In the previous chapter, you have learned about various forms of business organization which primarily related to private enterprises. Traditionally, business activities were left mainly to individual and private organizations, and the government was taking care of only the essential services such as railways, postal services, electricity supply, etc. But it was observed that private sector did not take interest in areas where the investment was heavy and the profit margin was low. Hence, the government, while regulating the business activities of private enterprises, went in for direct participation in business and set up public enterprises in areas like coal industry, oil industry, steel industry, etc. Since the Indian economy consists of both privately owned and government owned business enterprises, it is known as mixed economy. The government of India has opted for a mixed economy where both private and government enterprises are allowed to operate. The economy, therefore, may be classified into two sectors, private sector and public sector. Then, what is private sector enterprises? Business activity owned, financed and controlled by private individuals are known as private sector enterprises. Such enterprises may be in the form of sole proprietorship, partnership, Hindu undivided family business, cooperative society and joint stock company. Some prominent companies in private sector enterprises are Tata Consultancy Services, ITC Limited, Reliance Industries Limited, Infosys, HDFC Bank, etc. Now, let's point out the main features of private sector enterprises. Private sector enterprise is owned by individuals or group of individuals who provide the capital. It is managed by the owners themselves or the persons appointed by them. Private sector enterprise is established with a profit motive. It aims at maximizing the wealth of the owners, and it is accountable to the owners for its performance. So these are the main features of private sector enterprises. Let's discuss public sector enterprises. What is public sector enterprises? Public sector consists of those enterprises which are owned and managed by the government. Let's point out the main features of public sector enterprises. The capital of a public sector enterprise is contributed by the government. In company form of organization of a public sector enterprise, it is not necessary that the entire capital is provided by the government. The management of a public sector enterprise rests with the concerned government. The basic objective of a public sector enterprise is to serve public interest. It is accountable to the general public through the concerned government. So these are the main features of public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises may be in three forms: departmental undertakings, statutory corporation, and government company. Let's discuss the forms of public sector enterprises. The first one is departmental undertakings. Departmental undertaking is a public sector enterprise which is organized, controlled, and managed by the government in the same way as any other government departments. Examples of departmental undertakings are Indian Railway, Doordarshan, All India Radio, Indian Postal Services, etc. Let's discuss the main features of departmental undertakings. The first one is government financing. The funding of these enterprises come directly from the government treasury and are annual appropriation from the budget of the government. The revenue earned by these is also paid into the treasury. And the next one is accounting and audit. Accounting and audit functions of a departmental undertaking are undertaken on the same pattern which is relevant to the other government departments. And the next one is employees. The employees of the enterprise are government servants and their recruitment and conditions of service are the same as that of other employees directly under the government. And the next one is control. It is generally considered to be a major subdivision of the government department and it is subject to direct control of the ministry. And the last one is accountability. They are accountable to the ministry since their management is directly under the concerned ministry. So, these are the main features of departmental undertakings. Now, let's discuss the main merits of departmental undertakings. The first one is control. These undertakings facilitate the Parliament to exercise effective control over their operations. That means there is direct control of the government on the working of a departmental undertakings. Therefore, it is in a better position to work according to the prescriptions set by the government. And the next one is accountability. Departmental undertakings ensure a high degree of public accountability because it works like a government department and the government is accountable to the Parliament or state legislature. And the next one is revenue. The revenue earned by the enterprise goes directly to the treasury. That means a departmental undertaking generates revenue for the government because any surplus of the undertaking is treated as budget revenue. And the last merit is national security. Where national security is concerned, this form is most suitable since it is under the direct control and supervision of the concerned ministry. So these are the main merits of departmental undertakings. Let's discuss the main limitations of departmental undertakings. The first one is inflexibility. Departmental undertakings fails to provide flexibility because it has no autonomy. It has to function according to the rules and regulations of the government. But flexibility is essential for the smooth operation of business. And the next one is dependent management. The employees or heads of departments of such undertakings are not allowed to take independent decisions without the approval of ministry concerned. And the next limitation is red tapeism. There is red tapeism in day-to-day operations and no action can be taken unless it goes through the proper channels of authority. Red tapeism means the practice of excessive paperwork and tedious procedures before official action may be completed. As a result, there is unnecessary delay in work performance. Thus, many business opportunities may be lost. And the next limitation is political interference. There is a lot of political interference through the ministry. And the last limitation is insensitive to the needs of people. These organizations are usually insensitive to consumer needs and do not provide adequate services to them. Thus, in many cases, departmental undertakings fails to achieve their objectives effectively. These are the main limitations of departmental undertakings.
So students, I hope all of you understood the concept clearly. And please note that the related URLs, notes of the lesson and test paper are also attached along with the class. May use of these available materials. Study well and attend the test paper without fail. That's all for today. Thank you.